Hello, craft beer friends, and welcome to episode
212.
Wait a minute. Let's start over. Hello, craft beer friends, and welcome to season 9, episode 4 of Tap to Craft podcast. I am Denny Luce, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, and my partner in craft, the dog whisperer, and my favorite Florida man from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Kris McKenzie. How you doing tonight, Kris? And of course, what is in your glass?
Well, I'm doing very well. I've been looking forward to chatting with you about beer all day.
Good.
You know, out running adult errands and going grocery shopping and got dinner done. I'm freshly showered, ready for the show.
Nice.
Right? I smell lovely, and I'm drinking some good beer. I'm having a beer out of my cool FrostBuddy.
Look at that nice one. Very nice. I figured
what better way to enjoy a beer on the show in a FrostBuddy. I am drinking a Livestream lager. Again,
perfect.
Appropriate beer. This is from Corporate Ladder. Appropriate beer for what we get to do. And this is, according to them, it is a tropical light lager. This one's clocking in at 3.4%. So super easy to drink. Because when we start, I got a couple more beers in my little mini fridge over there that, we'll start out a little light and work our way up. But other than that, what about you? How's your day going? What's in your glass, and anything else you might want to add?
Well, it's going well, and it is Labor Day, so it is Monday, and I had the day off. You have the day off today, Kris, as well?
I always have Mondays off, which is nice.
Okay, but we went to Pocatello this weekend and spent some time with Haley, and had a nice time there. Also, of course, I'll be talking about a beer I had from Jim Dandy that I really enjoyed as well, and I'm drinking a Jim Dandy beer right now. I brought back some of this ambitious blonde, and this is one of their flagship beers. Nice 16-ounce can, and I got a few beers for you, Kris, that I'll be sending your way.
Really? Thank you.
I'm going to collect a few more. There weren't as many as I was hoping in the 16-ounce package, so I've got 3 beers I'll send your way from Jim Dandy, and I'll see if I can find some of those ones you've been eyeing here in Boise and send them in a package as well. But yeah, I'm drinking this ambitious blonde, something light, because I mentioned before we started recording that, man, it has been one hot summer in the Boise area, and it's going to be, tomorrow and the next day is going to be, 105, 106 degrees again. And we've had a lot of over 100 days in the Boise area this year. And now the smoke has hit us with all the fires going on around us. And it makes for kind of a, drag for the end of the summer, right? With the smoke and stuff. But hey, I'm doing good because I'm going to talk beer. We're going to talk about some of our favorite breweries, which I always enjoy. But Kris, before we get too far into that great topic we have tonight, I always want to let anyone new listening to Tap to Craft podcast know what we're all about. We are an educational podcast focused around celebrating all things craft beer, because we want to assist you, our listener, along in your craft beer journey and adventures. And you're listening to episode 212, and we're recording on Monday, September 5th, 2022. And yes, we are live on Facebook and on Twitter. And if you'd like to join us while we record this show live, you can do that every Monday prior to the Thursday release. So just join us at 8:30 Eastern time. And you don't have to come for the whole time. Just come in and drop, say hi. We always love having our listeners join us and interact with us as we record. And of course, I didn't say what the topics were. Okay, now that you can watch us live, and now you can also hear about what we're going to talk about tonight, which is our favorite breweries, beginning with the letter H. Man, we're just chugging right along these breweries. But
it's our first episode,
Yeah. First time doing this. Letter H, which will be fun. I'm curious to see what Kris has brought to the table with his H breweries, as well as doing a tasting notes segment with the Chimay Red Premier Belgian Double L. So if you have one of those, Go ahead and get ready to pop that open because we'll be drinking that shortly, as well as some great conversation Kris and I will have along the way. And Kris and I would like to thank all of our Patreon supporters because this episode is brought to you in part by our satisfied Patreon supporters like Mike Allen, Bill Schlemmer, Mandarin, Kevin Argauer, Mark Reedy, Mike Blanchard, Tara Carlson, and Jim Kutzel, who are our virtual producers, and Tom Byrne, Jeff Seiler, Johan Halberg, Chad Lamassa, Mark Church, Eric Gronley, and Matt Knight, who want to buy us a virtual beer. If you enjoy the content we provide, we invite you to support the show by toasting your host or buying us a virtual beer, even becoming a virtual producer. You can explore the options on our support page by visiting patreon.com/tapthecraft. Woo, that's a lot to say right there. Out. Yeah. Hey, guess what? We had some interaction on our email from Mr. Matt Knight, one of our listeners in the New York area, the Rochester. Of course, now I say that Rochester, New York, I believe is where he's at. So Matt Knight sent us an email with a link to an upcoming video game simulator called Brewmaster Beer Brewing Simulator, releasing on the PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch on September 29th. So at the end of this month, you could, if you enjoy, simulating being a brewmaster and brewing your own beers, you could do that. Here's what the site had to say. It said that discover, learn, and master the art of home brewing in the ultimate celebration of craft beer. From perfecting authentic, chemistry-driven brewing techniques to naming, bottling, and labeling, refine your craft to become the ultimate brewmaster in the first ever realistic beer brewing experience with all the tricks of the trade and the best equipment at your disposal. Follow a recipe or experiment with a huge variety of real-world ingredients to hone your skills, enter friendly competitions, earn beer tokens, and upgrade your equipment to become an even better brewer. And it says you can choose to experience the story-led brewmaster mode or just throw yourself into the creative mode, which is a sandbox with everything unlocked.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's thanks, Matt, for bringing that to our attention. I'll have a link to this site if you want to go and check it out more and find out more about it. But I don't know what the price is. But hey, it works on everything. So if you're interested, you might check it out.
Denny, I it made me think of something because he's talking about virtually brewing. I got some brewing equipment today.
I thought you sold all your brewing equipment.
Listen, I did one even better. The majority of it I gave away.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you gave it away.
Yeah,
okay.
so I gave it away for somebody else to, get some use out of it. I grabbed a couple of little, small vessels to try to make some mead.
Oh, okay.
So I got two little 1 gallon fermenters that came from Amazon today with I got some yeast nutrients and got a couple packs of yeast in there and some airlocks and all the stuff I'm going to need. So I figured what a great time to put it all together. We've got a couple of produce places around us that we can grab some, good fruits and stuff from, and some good local honey, and we'll see what turns out.
Okay. So what prompted you to try? I mean, have you been trying mead and you guys enjoy it? So you want to go ahead and make your own, or what prompted this
TikTok
endeavor? TikTok prompted
TikTok. It? Yeah. I was just scrolling through aimlessly, as I do occasionally. And I saw this guy. He was like, "Oh, so you want to make mead this weekend, but you don't have any equipment. Well, here's what you're going to need." And I'm like, all right, I'm listening. And to me, mead is one of those things it's not as involved as beer, right? And especially if I'm making, 1 gallon batches, I don't have to lug these giant buckets around and, keep them in a temperature controlled vessel and all that stuff. And I started watching his content, and then I started bouncing around to other people's content about making mead. And I'm going, okay, yeah, let's give it a whirl. Let's see what we can come up with. And we have there's a place about 25 minutes from us called Keel and Curly Farms and Winery. And they make some really good, just fruit wines, blueberry, strawberry, that kind of thing. And I was like, well, let's give it a whirl. Let's, if I absolutely hate it or end up making something and, brew a bunch of batches of it and then stop using it, well, then somebody else can use it.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah,
Well,
just
good.
Just made me
I look
think.
forward to hearing how it is.
I am too, because I'm going to put 2 batches together before I leave for Vegas in a couple of days, so it can ferment while I'm gone, and we can rack it into some other containers and just let it sit in some secondary fermenters for a few weeks and see how it turns out.
All right. Excellent. Okay. Well, we also had a voicemail, Kris. Did you get that email from me?
I did. I'm ready to go. Just tell me when.
So Matt Knight not only is leaving us emails, he also left us a voicemail. So Kris, why don't you go ahead and cue up Matt's voicemail?
As I'm sitting here having a toppling Goliath Oktoberfest lager, as I'm sitting here recording live with the Snack Network. Say hi, guys. I put my headphones up to that. I don't know if it'll work. Several beverages in. Just want to say, Kris and Denny, enjoy the show. This is a fantastic beer. It's nice and malty, nice and smooth, nice and sweet. It's even a lot better before the first taste I took straight from the can before I realized it was an unfiltered beer like a complete dumbass. So enjoy the show, guys. First time, long time. I'll just hang up and listen to your answer. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Well, I didn't know there was a question. Did you hear a question in there, Kris?
Well, I was a little concerned because I was moving a couple of windows around, and he goes, "I'll wait for your answer." And I went, "Shit, what question am I supposed to answer?"
I think either something didn't get recorded at the very beginning of it, or maybe he forgot to ask the question. But he was talking about Oktoberfest, so I'm assuming he had a question about Oktoberfest. It is that time of the year when the Oktoberfest beers are coming out. I have drank a couple of them already. I haven't logged them on tap because I've already had these before. I drank a 6-pack of Sockeyes Socktoberfest beer. That's their play on the Oktoberfest, which is a very good beer. And I enjoyed that one. I also had another Martzen, which I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, but yeah, it is Martzen season. I love drinking Oktoberfest beers, Fest beers, Martzen beers. I do enjoy getting away from the hops. Every year I say that I'm not going to drink as many IPAs. And I think this year, if I record how many IPAs I've logged in Untapped, not even the ones, whether I logged in Untapped is one thing, but the ones I'm drinking outside of that it's crazy. I've been drinking a lot of IPAs, but now it's time to kind of mellow out, right? Get kind of dip down into some of those more maltier, more warm, enjoyable beers that welcome you into fall and winter.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and it's actually one of the beers on my new and noteworthy is an Oktoberfest that I do believe. Well, according to Untapped, I haven't had it before, but I'm pretty sure I have. But whatever. Yeah. Maybe they removed it.
They may have. They may have. Yeah. So and I haven't had the Toppling Goliath Oktoberfest. So we do get Toppling Goliath here in Boise. So if they do bring it in, I think I might grab that and try it. Sound pretty good from what you described.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you, Matt, for your voicemail. And if you want to be like Matt, you can leave us a voicemail by calling 208-536-3359, or if it's easier for you to remember, 208-53-ODDLY, and just say hi, tell us what you're drinking, ask us a question, whatever you want to do. You're welcome to do that and join us on the air.
Or you can always imply that there was a question and not ask one too.
Yeah, that's true. True. It works. It works. And if you don't want to leave a voicemail, don't worry. You could also be like Matt and just send us an email at taptocraft@gmail.com. Or if you want to hit us up on social media, we can be found on Twitter and Instagram at taptocraft. And of course, we have our Facebook page, facebook.com/tapthecraft. And don't forget, we do have a website at taptocraft.com as well. Okay, we just a general reminder, we do have our third FrostBuddy contest going on right now. To enter, all you need to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Pandora, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, wherever you're at. If they have a way of rating podcasts, just go into our podcast, rate us, hopefully a 5-cap rating, take a screenshot or a photo or whatever of that rating, and email it to us at taptocraft@gmail.com, and you'll be entered for the next contest. And you can do that as many times as you have different apps. We haven't got any entries for this yet. We're giving you lots of time to do it. Don't wait till the last minute. Come on,
guys.
Just send us some screenshots. Let us enter you into that contest. So, okay, that's all for that. And of course, Kris, let's continue the conversation, because now it is time to untap the craft and see what our listeners are drinking according to Untapped.
Something tells me this could be an extensive list, since it's, Labor Day and all, but we will see. We will see what comes up on this list. So remember, if you want us to read your check-ins on our show, make sure you follow me on Untapped at MCK1345. And if you check into beers approximately 24 hours before we record, which is every other Monday at 8:30 Eastern time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll read your check-ins on our show, starting with Mr. Craig Andrew here in the Tampa area. He is drinking a Killing Time by Woven Water Brewing. If you guys are in the area or come in the area, go check them out. They have phenomenal beers. He said key lime, almond, and cream of coconut. 4.25 rating for that beer. He's also drinking a little bit of stuff from Seventh Son called Kitty Likes the Milk.
Nice. Oh boy.
Nice coffee flavor, light, sweet, not bad. 4 cap rating for that one. He's getting into a couple of things over at the Dunedin House of Beer. So like I said, we've got a handful in here, so we can't get to every single one of them. JC is drinking a Hops on One Leg by Middle James Brewing Company. 4 cap rating for that one. No notes to go along with it. Scrolling on up, Mr. Eric Gronley drinking a Shine On by Black Stack Brewing at the Gronley headquarters. He said, really juicy, great hazy IPA. Happy Monday, everyone. 4.25 cap rating from Eric. Moving on the list, Brian G is drinking a Controlled Chaos by Surly Brewing Company. He said, this has become one of my favorite go-to West Coast IPAs. Piney, citrusy, resinous. I love it. 4 cap rating from Brian for that beer. Let's see. John W.C. is drinking a Forest Critters by Masthead Brewing Company. Those guys are up in Maine. Pulpy orange citrus and a nice grassy hop haze burn. Matt said, I don't know what the question was. I was drinking multiple beers in a short period of time for a live show on YouTube. Hey, we've all been there, so we won't hold it against you, buddy. But hey, thanks for responding to the message. And thank you for leaving us a voicemail.
Yeah. Drunk mails are welcome. That's okay.
Listen, actually extremely encouraged. Those end up being the best anyway. But 4 cap rating from John on the Forest Critters from Masthead. I didn't even have to look at who this was. I could tell from just the picture that came along with it. Jeff Seiler is drinking a Spaten Oktoberfest 2022. Yes. Delicious Marzen, malty, bready, and crushable. One of the best Oktoberfest beers I've had. Now I need a soft pretzel and some beer cheese. Yeah. Matt said we were having fun. The guys on the show loved it. Good. That's all we can ask, because if you're not having fun, then don't do it. 4 cap rating from Jeff on the Spaten Oktoberfest, and taking the picture overlooking the woods, which is how I knew who it was. Bill Schlemmer is drinking a Michigander by Barrel and Beam. Good sour, pleasantly tart with a little bit of lemon and a little bit of funk. 4 cap rating for him on that beer. Checking into a Dunkel by Bent Paddle Brewing Company is Mr. Eric Gronley again. Deep richness, chocolatey, and toasted bread crust. Just a damn fine beer. 4 cap rating for him. I'm seeing a trend. A lot of 4 caps in here today. Oh, even better. Cheers, Matt. He said he's getting back to playing some games with the missus. So he said he'll catch the audio version when we release on Thursday. John W.C., this is a coincidence. John W.C. is drinking an Oktoberfest by Toppling Goliath Brewery. Nice. Nice, toasty, and biscuity, and easy drinking. Guess how many caps, Denny? Guess.
4.
Four cap on the Toppling Goliath Oktoberfest. Continuing his check-in streak, Mr. Chad Lamassa is drinking a peanut butter and jelly squeeze by Prairie Artisan Ales. It's absolutely a liquid PB&J. The peanut butter is strong in the aroma. The taste is a berry bonanza. Nice word, Chad. Mixed nicely with the peanut butter. Just a bit of tartness. Very well done. 5 cap rating for that beer from Mr. Chad Lamassa, and I toasted it too. Always a classic one on this. Jeff Seiler drinking a Gumball Head by Three Floyds Brewing. My absolute favorite wheat beer, he says. So glad Three Floyds is now only a short drive away. Knoxville road trip. Short is a relative term, I suppose. 4 1/4 caps for that one. David Makazuki is drinking a pale ale by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company at the Giuseppe's Restaurante. 3 1/2 caps for that beer, and always a good solid choice in my book. Let's see, scrolling up the list. John WC, you've been doing a lot of drinking over the past couple of days. Oktoberfest by Masthead, Through My Lens Grape PB&J by Hightower, and Phantasmal Bliss by Masthead. So he's been doing a little drinking today. Barktoberfest by Thirsty Dog. That's a good one. William Lake is drinking a Kolsch by Alaskan Brewing Company at the Vancouver Harbor. No notes or cap rating for that one. Mr. Buck Buchanan, 4-4 Brewing.
Nice.
Is drinking an Air Boss by Crossed Cannons Brewery at Crossed Cannons Brewery. 2 thumbs up was what he gave for notes, and a 4 cap rating. Let's see, who else do we have in here? Matt Knight, speaking of which, is drinking an Oktoberfest by Firestone Walker.
Oh, that's a good
Company.
one. Yeah.
Playing some Wingspan with the wife and enjoying a tasty beer. That was 20 minutes ago. So we've also been playing Wingspan, the board game. Oh, okay.
And I got it because I do like oh gosh, I forgot the guy, the Stoudemire. No, shoot, I forgot the distributor or the board game company, but I like their games. I thought, oh, it's just, we like birds, and so we got it, and it's highly rated. And I thought it was going to be kind of an easy game to learn. And then a friend of ours said, oh, we were going to play with her, and she said, wait, we'll come over to my place and we'll play it. So we came over to her place to play it. And the reason why she wanted to come over to her place, she brought 2 friends that knew the game very well so they could help us with the instructions the first time. And I'll tell you what, it is way more complicated than I thought it was going to be. But once you get used to it, it's not too bad. But that's a fun game. I enjoyed it. Wingspan. Okay. Yeah, it's a 2 thumbs up from the Tap the Craft board game.
All right, from the board game section. Stonemaier games.
Stonemaier, that's that, right? Stonemaier. I knew it was SM. Yeah, Stonemaier. Yeah, they make some good games. Century Golem Edition is one we really like to play as well. Okay, sorry to get sidetracked.
That's okay. Hey, we're good with, as long as I have my notes. I can get back on track pretty quickly. Let's see. John WC is drinking a Vienna lager by Wolf's Ridge Brewing. Wolf's Ridge Brewing. I wanted to say brewery. Big toasted crisp rye wheat cracker with a lingering iced tea. As he said, as a question, lingering iced tea. The color looks red-ish as far as the picture goes. It could be iced tea in a glass, just looks like it has carbonation in it. But 4 cap rating on that one, and I'm going to refresh, and that's what everybody's drinking, Denny.
Oh, okay. Not bad. It wasn't too, I thought it was going to be a lot longer, but it looks like people were busy barbecuing and camping and getting home from their weekend instead of drinking. All right. Well, I always enjoy the entire, there was on a trip to and from Pocatello, Sarah and I listened to the last 3 episodes of our show, and she always loves the Untapped section also, because she likes hearing what other people are drinking. And then she's always going, ooh, that sounds really good. So it's kind of, I think, I imagine that's the same thing that our listeners are also saying, is they find beers that intrigue them because of the names and some of the descriptions we give. So yeah,
no, it gets me too. It's I go, oh man, that one sounds good. I'd love to get a hold of that one.
That's right. Okay, Kris. Hey, it's time for our tasting notes segment. Are you ready for that, or you want to?
I just gotta go over there and go get the beer and open it.
All right, I'm gonna get my beer out too. So we're gonna be doing our tasting notes segment on the Chimay Premier Double. I'm burping. Double Style Abbey Ale. And the reason I'm burping is I just downed this 16-ounce beer in about 15 minutes or whatever, maybe 20 minutes. Okay, I wasn't as prepared as I normally am. Normally I'll write up a little description of this beer and some history behind it. But you know what? We've already talked enough about Belgian ales in the last several months. Yeah. And we've mentioned Chimay in our Abbey Ale segment, or actually not segment, but episode that was a while back. I can't remember which one, but yeah, we're gonna be tasting this beer here. It is the right one, right, Kris? You got the Chimay Premier. Yes, we've got the right beer.
We did it this time.
And this is a double style ale. It comes in at 7% alcohol. Wow, this is bigger than I thought it was going to be.
That's what she said. Sorry.
Yes, and she was right. This is big. It does come in 11.2 ounce bottle, which is 333 milliliters. I had to think for a second. Wow,
12 ounces. Yeah.
Just to let you guys know, it is the holiday weekend, and I was partaking in beers before we started recording. So this is going on a few beers now.
Okay.
And adding a 7% beer to this nice weekend will be fun. Yeah. By the end of the show, I'm going to be slurring and tongue-tied and laughing, giggling quite a bit. So, all right. So let's go ahead and pour this beer into our glass. What kind of glass you got there, Kris? Did you get your nice?
I went with a snifter, but I didn't.
Snifter. Yeah.
I didn't grab my
your delirium.
Yeah.
I went and grabbed my Russian River Belgian glass. I can't fit the whole thing in.
I'm leaving that one alone. Yeah. I tried. It just won't fit right now.
It won't fit. This just won't fit.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Try harder.
So it's not just me who I poured a little.
No, because again, these are bottle conditioned as well, I believe.
God, that smells good.
It does smell good. Okay. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So let's look at the visuals.
Okay.
As everyone can see, that it has a great head. Everyone that's actually watching the video can see that it pours really, really nicely. The head is nice and thick, creamy. It has a combination of some really dense, small, creamy bubbles, as well as if you look closely on the side, there's some coarse bubbles in there too. So it's not just, a dense head. It's got both. It's got the dense on top, as Kris showed you on his top-down view, and some nice coarse bubbles. So it's really good. Okay, that's your camera's coming across like that with that light in there. It's making it look like it's really like orange.
It does. Well, it's super bright in the bottom. So what if? Oh, come on, do it. There we go. I guess if you were to put light.
Yeah. I've got this aerated, laser etched bottom glass, so the bubbles are like coming up like crazy. You can probably see there's a lot of bubbles in my glass, but that works really well because I can just see the bubbles on the side. If you look closely here, you can see that the bubbles are, well, maybe not. It's not focusing very good, but they're just coming up the side, so it's giving off a really nice aroma out of here because those bubbles just releasing all this great flavor as it comes up. So yeah, it's really an amber coloring. I mean, a really like a dark amber coloring. It's a clear beer. I didn't pour any sediment in there, so it's not. Well, you know what?
It's got a little haze to it.
It is a little hazy.
Mine,
yeah, you're right. It's not as clear. I mean, it's clear that I can see through it, but I can't see all the way through it. So you're right. It is a little bit of a haze in there as well. Not a hazy beer, but it's got some particulates that are keeping it from being translucent, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the aroma. So it's got, to me, big toffee, like it's got huge toffee character coming out of here. And fruit, like a fruited dates and toffee is what I get in the aroma.
If fruitcake had a smell, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Those chewy stone fruits, like I wouldn't want to go plum, but
I think plum's a little heavy. I think dates is a good one. Sweet date, toffee, and Belgian sugar.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the kind of the flavors that I get out, or aromas I get out of this beer. Okay. Now look, our heads died down. How's your head? It died down?
So I actually got the whole bottle in now.
Oh, did you? Okay, let me try to get my whole bottle.
Well, I mean, there might be, a half of an inch left in there, but I don't know if there's any sediment in there or
not. It's definitely coming out darker as I'm pouring. There is.
Oh yeah, there
is sediment in the bottom of that bottle. It's okay. Okay. All right, let's take a sip of this thing.
It's not too cold.
Wow, you know what? Wow. All the aromas coming out of this thing. I thought it was going to be really like more fruity and more sweet.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not sweet at all, which is, I mean, okay, I won't say not sweet. It is sweet, but it gives off to me like a big caramel, like toffee, like a
slightly burnt sugar,
caramel toffee flavor that gives you some of that sweetness that you get from that, but not like super sweet like you get from dates. Mm-hmm. Like dates come off really sweet. But yeah, it's really toffee, burnt caramel, burnt sugar, brown sugar. Those are all kinds of flavors you could probably describe this beer. There is a little bit of at the finish. There is a little bit of a fruit flavor. I might say prunes is what I'd say the back end flavor of this is. Not that I eat a lot of prunes, but I have had prunes, and honestly, I like
them.
Prunes. I just don't want to eat too many of them because they will make you a bit regular. But I'm feeling that if I were to give the best fruit flavor in here on the flavor, I'd say prunes in the finish. What do you get in the finish there, Kris? You get anything?
Right now I'm getting, my bottle is actually really cold. So I'm having an issue with drinking this and letting it kind of be completely there. Cause I took it out of a fridge that's, 35, 36 degrees.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that. We should have took that out earlier.
And I thought about that before we got started, but I was also, it's so cold right now that I'm also getting like these like strange metallic flavors towards the end of it. I'm like, it's just that cold right now. Like it's like if you drink like a big heavy stout and you get like it's
a sharp, of a sharp
bitterness to it. But normally as you let them warm up, they kind of.
Okay. Well, I'll keep talking about mine because I had mine in my cooler, which came out of my beer fridge, and then I just have a little bit of ice in there, and the actual temperature is like perfect. It's probably right around 47 degrees, 50 degrees. It's probably a good drinking temperature to drink this. But yeah, there's I don't get any kind of sharpness or metallic. This is super smooth, creamy body. The mouthfeel in the body is like super creamy, full body. It's not thin at all, not watery. It's got great flavor, but not overwhelming flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the finish, I get that, let's say burnt sugar, toffee type character up front, finishing off with a prune-ish fruit in the very finish, but cutting off very, very fast. It doesn't linger around.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like it sticks to your tongue the whole time. It's just, it's there. You taste everything, and then it's gone. And mine again with some slight off flavors just because it's being super cold. I get some of the bitterness too. I get some. It's almost like resinous hop bitterness, but wow. I know that it can't be.
Yeah.
It could just be some of the caramelized sugar flavor. Like if it'll get bitter if you caramelize sugar too far.
Yeah. Okay, so while Kris's beer warms up a hair, I did see now I'm gonna have trouble. Let me get my reading glasses. Oh shoot, where's my reading glasses? Oh, here. Let me get my reading glasses out so I can read the small print. There is something on the back of the label. Let me just read this since I didn't prepare properly beforehand. It says Chimay Premier is a copper tinted brown ale that combines generous hints of fruit, toast, and sweet caramel. Okay, we got the caramel. The Trappist logo certifies that this ale is brewed in a Trappist abbey, and that the majority of the sales income is intended for social aid. Oh, that's nice. The exceptional yeast isolated by Father Theodore, combined with the purity of the highly protected water of the abbey's wells, gives Chimay a unique richness. It is very rich. It feels rich and that's one of the descriptors I should have used is rich. Since 1862, Chimay's secondary fermented ales have neither been pasteurized nor filtered. Okay, good catch on the filtering, Kris, because you're right. It was a little bit cloudy. Filtered, and only natural ingredients are used. Beer fermented in the bottle, contains barley and wheat. So yeah, this is a conditioned ale.
So I also what I've been tasting though, even though I've been in the very front, we were talking about stone fruits and things like that. I would really kind of lean on apricots as far as what I get out of it too, and it's definitely starting to warm up now.
You know what? Now as you say that, maybe it's just like suggestion, but I can see where you could get some apricot type. I don't want to say syrupy because it's not syrupy, but you know how that apricot thick juices like have that character. I get some of that apricot in there. Yeah, that's a good pull. And you're right, stone fruit, right? Apricot is a stone fruit,
right?
And I would agree that apricot, stone fruit, prunes, caramel, burnt caramel.
So that
sugar.
It has a really, I like the write up that it has on Untapped too, because it talked about, let's see, noted for its copper color, as the first beer brewed by the monks of Chimay in 1862. Topped with a creamy head, it gives off a light fruity apricot aroma produced by the fermentation. The taste perceived in the mouth is a balance, confirming the fruity nuances noted in the fragrance. Its taste, which imparts a silky sensation to the tongue. Okay, I'd agree.
It is silky. I'll say silky. Yeah,
is made refreshing by a touch of bitterness. Okay, so I'm not completely losing my mind here.
So I am at the end of. I'm almost at the end of mine now. You're right. As it goes on, at the very end of the finish, on my tongue, I do get a little bitterness on the tongue. So you're right. There is some bitterness in there, and good call with the apricot.
But it smells entirely different now that it's starting to warm up too. Like I was just smelling it earlier. Like you said, you get the smell of, the crap. What did you say earlier?
I don't know. I talk a lot, so I could have said any number of things. I was just speaking as it was coming to my senses. I don't remember what I said. We'll have to play back the audio and find out.
Can we go to the replay, please? But it's changed completely. Like it just smells more of like that sugary candy smell, like the Belgian. But I get some kind of more I get those toffee notes in there as well. Yeah. But to the palate, the taster perceives a pleasant astringency, which complements the flavor qualities of this beer very harmoniously. Top fermented Trappist beer, re-fermented in the bottle, is not pasteurized. All right. So,
yeah, it keeps on working its magic. Oh, what was your date on your bottle by any chance?
Let's see.
Oh, it's got a weird code. Mine's L21773. It's not something we can decode easily.
I don't even see a date on mine.
It's on the gold. It's not a date. It's like a lot number. Lot 21.
Oh, I see it.
77.3.
I got the same one.
Oh, there we go. We got the same beer.
Yep. L21.
Produced at the same time.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I again, now that it's getting warmer and it's getting to the end. And I'm getting some, almost like a fruit cup syrup flavor, at the end, which kind of reminds me of apricots as well. So it's like apricot finish. I get more apricot now at the end of this than I did at the beginning. And maybe again, it's a power of suggestion. Maybe my mind is saying, yeah, Kris says there's apricots. It must be apricots. I taste apricots. All right. Any last parting words on this beer before we move on to our next segment?
I mean, these are, if you're going to go classic Belgian beers, these are one of those ones that is readily available that you can grab. I mean, it's awesome, Denny. You and I are on the complete opposite ends of the country, and our lot numbers are exactly the same.
Yeah, we got lucky.
So
just happened to be delivered the same lot at the same time.
So if you want to try some Belgian beers, you can start here, because I know like a lot of the Belgian beers I've tried before, when you drink it, it doesn't just coat your mouth and it's sticky and sweet, very much like toffee, and it can be a little overwhelming or just overbearing. And trying to finish, we went through. You're done yours, I know you are.
I got one. I got one sip. I'm just saving.
If this was sticky and cloying, it would be a little more difficult to finish. Yeah. But it's the carbonation's a little higher. It's we're drinking it fairly quickly, and I'm sure you're probably going to be burping up a little bit here in a minute. But
I don't feel as much burping as the last beer. The Dubbel seemed to have more carbonation than this one. I mean, it's carbonated. I mean, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how I burp. But this is a super approachable Belgian ale. It doesn't have flavors that typical Belgian ales that turn people off are going to experience and say, oh, yuck, that's that coriander, that clove, that bubble gum. I don't want that in my beer. This doesn't have that. This Belgian ale, very approachable, easy drinking, high alcohol content, but you would never know that there's any alcohol in this beer. I don't taste any hint of alcohol in this beer. I mean, that's amazing. That there's 7% alcohol in here, and it goes down so easy. You can get pretty much wasted off this beer pretty quickly, I think.
Ooh. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, it's I like this one.
Okay.
And it makes me look forward to the red or the blue and the blue.
The white.
I love the blue one.
Yeah. No. My favorite style is Belgian dark strong ale. So the blue is gonna be good. I haven't had a blue for a long time too, so it'll be good to revisit it. I haven't had the red. Oh, there it goes. I just had to.
There it is.
I haven't had the red for a long time either, and I forgot. I think this is one of the ones that John recommended that I try when I told him early on, like back in. Oh, I was like, okay, you're right, Kris. Now the bubbles are coming up. Back when I was on the Florida cast, I mentioned that I didn't like Belgian beers, and John, he wrote in and he said, hey, try these beers. And I think you'll find that you'll enjoy these. And this is one of the ones that he recommended, and I did enjoy it. And from there, I just started trying more and more and realized that, wow, maybe I just had some bad experiences with Belgian style ales that just, at the time in my craft beer journey, I just wasn't ready for. And now that I have a more, well, back then, this is again, going back going back 10 years ago, my palate has grown where I can accept them more readily. And now I just love them. I'll buy any Belgian beer style. I love it. So, yeah. So Kris mentioned we're going to have the Chimay White on our next episode. That's the triple style called Cinq Cents. And that will be on episode 213. And the Chimay Blue will be 214, the Grand Reserve, a Belgian strong dark ale. Kris and I are both looking forward to that one. I love Belgian dark strongs. All right, let's get into our Beer Speak 101. This is where we briefly define common and not so common beer terminology. This episode, we explain what it means when we talk about decoction mash.
Watch your mouth.
Yes. What the hell is a decoction mash, and who would do it and why? Well, it's a method of mashing, and mashing is where you take your broken up barley, and it basically goes into water, and it's bringing out, it's a temperature controlled water that brings out those starches and sugars so that you can then transfer that water into your brewing and you can start your beer. So it's a method of mashing that raises the temperature of the mash by removing a portion, boiling it, and then returning it to the mash tun. Often used multiple times in certain mash programs. The most traditional is a triple decoction mash, where the decoction is boiled 3 times to achieve 4 different mash steps. Single and double decoctions are also quite common. Decoction mashing increases the melanoidins in the mash, contributing to a fuller, maltier character in the beer. Increased tannins from the boiling the grain also add to the mouthfeel of the beer. And decoction mash, this is just a brief, description of what this is. I think I'm going to go into more details on this as a future topic, that we can go into the nitty gritty on how do you do it and why you do it and exactly what it's adding to the beer and why so many like really good German beers that do decoction math are so good. And so, yeah, look forward to a future topic of that. Okay, Kris, the moment of truth, the time that we start talking about the Brew Buzz, which is the Brew Buzz is devoted to discussing various beer-related topics. And this week we are discussing our favorite breweries, beginning with the letter H. So, Kris, you want to start us off?
Yeah, certainly. I got to pull this one up first because I slacked on my.
Hey, you got some words in here, though.
Listen, you were right. I was extremely impressed of the number of H breweries that were not only in my Untapped, but also just all around. Because there's a website that I use when we start looking these up. And I closed out the tab. Damn it.
Oh, man.
And I'll pull it up here in a second. But breweries that start with the letter H. But my first brewery, there it is. It's beerme.com, and it's under the tab of brewery list. And you just click any of the letters and it'll take you to a very, very extensive list of every brewery that's known and listed in here. That'll just help you if you're looking for breweries that start with a certain letter. Anywho, Yeah, I was definitely really impressed of the number of breweries that I could come up with that I've tried beer from that started with the letter H. And it was no question on my first one of which one I was going to go with. And it was Hop and Frog out of Akron. And just a kind of a quick snippet on them. This was straight out of their website. It was established in 2006 and brewing with an uncompromising and relentless focus on detail from the ingredient selection to the brewing process. The brewery has become known for quality around the world and now distributes, in 22 states and 38 foreign countries.
Wow, that's impressive.
I had no idea yet.
Yeah, that's great.
Does it show up here in Florida? Because that'd be nice.
It doesn't show up in Boise either, so.
Only half the states are cool enough. Hop and Frog has now been rated 26th best brewer in the world by Rate Beer, the world's largest and most comprehensive beer rating website.
Oh yeah, little plug there.
Yeah, and thus are one of the top 100 brewers in the world now for 14 years in a row. Hop and Frog is the concept of owner and established brewmaster Fred Karm, a brewer since 1994, who has designed and produced 23 award-winning beers at the Great American Beer Festival and World Beer Cup, the two most prestigious contests in the world.
Yeah.
And I've checked into 41 different beers of theirs.
Nice.
Well, I don't know if they're all different, but one of my absolute favorites has been their barrel-aged Doris the Destroyer, which Doris is double oatmeal Russian Imperial Stout, which it's chewy, but then they barrel age it, and it's one of those beers that you drink it and you just want to drink more of it, and you want to drink more of it, and it just doesn't. I can't get enough of it. It's one of my absolute favorite beers. I've rated it 5 caps on Untapped as many times as I've had it. Anytime I can get a hold of a bottle of it, I try to get a hold of it. So that's one of my favorite beers that they put out. But they also put out, on the complete opposite side of beers that they put out, their Turbo Shandy. Now, I haven't had the Turbo Shandy in quite a while, because when I used to get it straight from Ohio, when I lived there, it was, lemonade beer, nice, easy drinking summer beer. But for some reason, I do remember having it a year or two ago and being a little underwhelmed and not being as good as I remember it being. But between the Doris the Destroyer, they also have Boris, their oatmeal. Oh, geez, what's Boris? Oh, look, that Chimay's kicking in. It's an oatmeal Russian Imperial Stout, and it's just a nice solid beer. And I do believe that one has a handful of awards in different competitions. In that beer, where did it go? I just had it up here. Anyway, but a lot of great beers that they've put out. The Boris, the Doris, the Turbo Shandy. They had one that was a Tower Series A, which was a chocolate and peanut butter stout. And their Christmas beer is great. Their double pumpkin is great. It's just an all-around great brewery. Now, I haven't been able to get a whole lot more here unless I go through a service like Tavor. And the last couple ones I had, there was like I got like an 8-ounce can that was like a 15% beer. This was the label on it.
Wow, that's a mini label.
And it was an 8-ounce can.
Den Haag.
16.8%. Yeah, 8.5
Much.
ounces. But it was an ale aged in bourbon whiskey barrels. And we'll just throw that back up on the wall. There you go. It stuck too. But yeah, I really like those guys. Like I said, out of Akron, Ohio, they put out a lot of great beers. So I just wish I could see more of them where we are now.
Nice.
All
Nice.
right.
Yeah. Hop and Frog. I haven't had very many of their beers, but the ones I've had have all been really good. And I think I knew it was going to be on your list, so I didn't want to take it, but I just haven't had that many beers from them, as many as I've had from the other two breweries that I'll mention.
Yeah.
And so I had to throw my hat to those breweries.
Yeah. What about you, Denny? What's one of the first ones on your list?
Okay. So my favorite H brewery is what I'm wearing right here, Heretic Brewing. Be a Heretic. Out of Fairfield, California. I've had 27 unique beers from them. I've visited a brewery. I had some of these of my favorite beers at the brewery itself. I would have never got these beers if I didn't go to the brewery, which was nice. The sad thing is I mentioned when we were talking about our last episode, how I said, what if we had if we had 500, if we had money to open our own capital investment, how we spend our money.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of came together because I was listening to how the owner, the previous owner of and creator of Heretic, he's no longer a part of the brewery. And it all started from a capital investment group that decided that he was, going to, sell the brewery to this investment group. And he was going to stay on as as part of it or whatever. And then eventually what happened is they booted him out. So he's no longer a part of the brewery, which is sad because this was his baby and he built it with a purpose. And what I'll do is I'll just read a little bit about the brewery here. So it all started with a neighbor sharing a homemade beer with Jamil Zainashev. He was surprised at the quality of the brew and mentioned it to his wife, Liz. So she bought him a Mr. Beer kit for Christmas. So imagine that. Imagine this great award-winning brewer started off with a Mr. Beer kit. That's how he started brewing.
I feel like it's gonna like that with so many.
Yeah. But I bet we asked a lot of these things. They all started with that first kit, made horrible beer, and they upgraded right away to something bigger. But it's a fun story. So Jamil became obsessed with brewing the perfect beer, and as his passion for brewing progressed, he became well known in the home brewing community. Within a few years, he had won first place medals in every known beer style, 82 at the time. So imagine having a home brew from a neighbor across, on the other side of his fence, giving him a beer, loving the beer, asking the guy, hey, where'd this beer come from? I want to buy more of it. And the guy saying, well, I made it. You can't buy more. And then sparking his ability to want to make his own beer as good as what his neighbor was making. Yeah. And then leads it to where he just started brewing as many styles as he can. And not only was he a good brewer at one or two styles, he won first place home medaling home brewers in 82 categories in California, which is a lot of people in California. So, or southern, Northern California. It wasn't the whole state of California, but in his homebrew area. So that's pretty impressive. So in 2011, Jamil and Liz decided to take the plunge and open Heretic Brewing Company. Within a few years, Heretic became internationally known with distribution in 13 states and 12 countries. So I was very lucky in the fact that when he started opened his brewery, he worked a deal out with one of our local homebrew shops where he was getting beer in Boise in I want to say 2013, maybe. I mean, really soon, early in his company's brewing, maybe even before 2013. And so I was trying his beers and drinking him here in Boise early on and loved him, fell in love with his beers, makes great beers. And then eventually he made it out to 13 different states and 12 countries. Not as good as Hop and Frog, but hey, that's pretty impressive. So when trying to research and find out more information about Heretic, I thought, well, maybe there's a wiki page or some information. There was very little. But I did find an article, and I'm not gonna read the article, but I will do is I'm going to read just the first opening introduction to this article. And this article was, I think it was written back in 2015. So it's older, it's an old article, but it has some good information in there. If you want to find more out about Heretic, about their mission and the way they do things and go about making good beer, I recommend following the link that I'll have at the end of the in the show notes, and reading the 5 lessons that were so basically the article says how I became a heretic, 5 lessons learned from Jamil and Liz Zainasheff. And this was found on the Beer in Sac website. So Beers in Sacramento, because that's the area that they're in Fairfield, which is outside of Sacramento. And I'm going to read this first opening paragraph. And if you're intrigued, you should go follow the article link and read the entire article. It's very enlightening. I enjoyed it. So it starts off like this. What is a heretic? The words dissenter, nonconformist, iconoclast, and opposition come to mind. But Jamil and Liz Zainasheff, founders of Heretic Brewing in Fairfield, California, have different take on the word. As a heretic follows his core beliefs, often to the disapproval of the mainstream or popular thought, this husband and wife team landed on the name because they wanted to make beer that stayed true to the craft without submitting to popular demand or trends that compromise the integrity of the process. You'd think that Jamil and Liz would be passionate about brewing, and they are, in fact, zealous. But you might also think that they would carry an attitude of arrogance or anti-establishment. A heretic, of course, must be known for what he is against, right? After some pints and thoughtful conversation, however, I found, this is the author, that Jamil and Liz oozed with a different type of heresy. They are passionate about their craft, but offer no arrogance. In fact, I walked away having learned about humility, thoughtfulness, sincerity, and zeal for all that is good. The following thoughts reflect my conversation with the Zainasheffs and some lessons I learned from them along the way. Here are 5 lessons on how to become a heretic by the Zainasheff way. So yeah, if that intrigues you to find out what these 5 ways are, follow that link in our show notes. So some beers that I enjoy. And again, 27 beers, maybe more. I don't know which ones were, deleted from my Untappd, but the ones I can follow on Untappd, 27. I'm going to list the ones that I really enjoyed and you'll be surprised that these are 5 cap rating beers as well as 4.5 cap rating beers. So the first beer I had from them, I take it back. Not the first beer. The second beer I had from them is the Evil Cousin Imperial IPA. Their first beer was Evil Twin Red IPA. I enjoyed that red IPA, but I gave that red IPA like a 4.5 cap rating, maybe 4. I can't remember. But the Evil Cousin Imperial IPA is a 5 cap rating beer, an incredible beer that just blew my socks off when I first had it. The second beer that blew my socks off when I had it was the Chocolate Hazelnut Porter. I'm not a big fan of hazelnut, but the way this beer was made and the way they added the hazelnut in, not to be overwhelming, was incredible. 5 cap rating. I've already mentioned I love Belgian dark strong ales. Guess what? Torment, the Belgian dark strong ale, 5 cap rating. Loved it. Worry, Belgian triple, 5 cap rating. Incubus, Imperial Stout, 5 cap rating. Shallow Grave Porter, 5 cap rating. I just had the Shallow Grave Porter on the air a few episodes ago. I still drink it. I still love it. It's still a fantastic beer. Then we get to the 4.5. These are some more recent ones I've had in the last maybe year or two. Juicier Than Thou New England IPA, 4.5 cap rating. And guess what? We go from all these IPAs and Belgian ales and stouts and porters to a lager, a Helles lager, which is just called lager, 4.5 cap rating for a lager. So they can go on both sides of that spectrum and make some great beer. So even though Jamil no longer is involved in Heretic, I really hope that they continue to brew the great beers that he developed which I can't imagine them not. And if you have a chance of visiting Heretic or getting their beers, I recommend trying some really good beers. All right, Kris. Didn't mean to go on too long.
No,
that was mine.
Absolutely fine. And my other H brewery is going to be Highwire Brewing out of Asheville, North Carolina. So I was trying to get notes and stuff put into I was trying to copy and paste stuff out of their website, and man, I don't know what it was, but it was just not happening. So I put, just a link on our notes if we need to go back to it. But these guys are based out of Asheville, North Carolina, like we just mentioned. Just a quick thing about what they have as their story in on their website at highwire.com. At our core, we brew beer we want to drink on a regular basis. Beer we can sit down and have multiple pints with friends. Our flagship and seasonal offerings are brewed to be balanced and approachable. How brewers have been striving to brew beers for thousands of years. So they want to keep things simple, but they want to make, they want to brew beer that they want to drink, not just, hey, we needed a new beer on tap, so here we threw this together. I like that they are going to do that. That they're not just going to maybe go with a hype, or they want to brew a quality product, which I can't argue with them on that. And it's paying off for them because they've expanded significantly in the last 5 to 7 years. They said, we're dedicated to the tradition of our craft while striving to be innovative. Brewing beers with a connection to the past is important to us. We love to brew traditional styles that honor the heritage of our craft and pay respect to those who have crafted beer before us. Yet, as an American craft brewer, we are elated to participate in the culture of experimentation that has developed here. With the opening of the Big Top Production Brewery and Tap Room, our South Slope Specialty Brewery has become an experimental hub for creating exciting barrel-aged sour and wild ales, in addition to housing our pilot system for recipe development and small batch creations. They don't like to take themselves too seriously, though, and just because we partake in a craft steeped in tradition doesn't mean we're stuffy. We firmly believe beer should be fun and shouldn't be taken too seriously. Our tasting rooms, our staff, our packaging all embody the spirit of fun and approachability. So it was one of these breweries that Megan and I happened to just kind of stumble upon when we were in Asheville the last time a couple of years ago. And I kept hearing people go, oh, you got to go to Highwire. You got to go to Highwire. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I've never heard of them. Why would I go over there? Like,
sounds like a circus to me.
It's not Wicked Weed. Like, why would we go over there? And it was one of those breweries that I was just pleasantly berlized by. They had, the majority of what we tried when we were there were actually more of like the Berliners and the Gozas, which I did talk Megan into letting me get an amber wheat lager, which was nice. But I've even started to see their things around here in Florida. Like one of the big stouts that they put out is their 10W40.
I've heard that one, yeah.
And a lot of people, look for it. It's a great beer. I rated it 4.25 caps on the last time that I checked it in, and then they do a bunch of variants of it. So that's kind of like their base, and then they'll make a bunch of different beers off of it. But last one of the ones that we had, Plum Nectar dry hopped Berliner Weiss. Their amber wheat, the peach Berliner Weiss, which I'm always good for peach beer. That's actually one of the first meads I'm making, is a peach strawberry mead. And they actually had another Goza that was with Citra hops. So they do a little bit of everything, but they also had like a tropical Berliner, or a tropical sour Weiss, which was labeled as an American wild ale. And I don't think I rated it because it doesn't show any rating on here, but they're just all around good beers that I've had from them, because they're getting into a little bit of everything, right? They're getting into the sours, they're getting into the stouts, the IPAs, they're kind of touching on a lot of different things. And like I said, they did a fair amount of expansion in the last couple of years. Like I think they have a couple of they did a lot. So Asheville on the South Slope is where I found out about them. Then they have a second beer garden. There's also one. There's a beer garden in Asheville. Then there's one in Biltmore Village. So the Biltmore Estates is in Asheville, or one of them is in Asheville. They also have a location in Charlotte, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, Knoxville, Tennessee, Wilmington, North Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky, and coming soon, Cincinnati, Ohio, Birmingham, Alabama, and Nashville, Tennessee. So they're
massive expansion.
Wow. I didn't know they were going balls out like that. But yeah, I've enjoyed all the things that I've had from them too. So that's why I put them as one of my favorite H breweries.
Nice.
Denny, let's hear about your other H brewery.
Okay, let's do that right after I take this break because my bladder is about ready to burst.
Okay, well, we'll take a pee break.
Okay, all right.
We're over here talking so much, I completely forgot to drink this beer that was in here.
Oh, well, you know what? Let me get my third beer. Summer Honey Seasonal Ale from Big Sky Brewing.
Oh, nice. I went with One Love from Corporate Ladder again.
Oh, nice. Look at you.
Jeff Seiler chimed in with some great H breweries for me. Heist in North Carolina. Nice. Highland Park. Excuse me. Hop Butcher for the World. Good one.
Never heard of them.
High Wire. Hoof Hearted. Jeff, I didn't forget about them. They were on my list, but I was ill prepared today and not, for a day off and all. So I haven't had a ton from Hoof Hearted.
Yeah, me neither. I've had a few.
But yeah, that's a good list. Half Acre also in Illinois. Yeah, great selection of breweries. Highland Brewing in Asheville too, Jeff, was another one that was almost made my list too. I just hadn't had a ton of stuff from them.
I mean, yeah. Well, let's get into my last one because we just got done taking a break. If for anyone wasn't paying attention on our audio stream, and then we talked about some other beers, and there were a lot of H breweries, but the problem is a lot of them only had one or two beers that I had, and then there was another one that had a significant number, but that didn't make my list. And it's because I didn't have a lot of high rated beers. Even though I had more beers from this brewery, they weren't high rated. They were okay. There was a couple that were good and other ones that weren't. As you notice with the Heretic, I had a lot of 5 cap rating and 4.5 cap rating. And I didn't even list all of 4.5 cap ratings. I had other ones too. When you have that many high rated ones, those are going to make the list over other ones. I may have had a lot of beers, but they were just like, okay, they weren't anything special. But this last brewery that I'm going to talk about, my second brewery, is not even an American brewery. Yeah, I'm going out of the States, and this brewery and the beers hold a special place in my heart because of how I was introduced to this brewery. And this is Dade Brewing in Israel. Dade means the bears. So in case you want to know what the Hebrew word for that is. And according to Untapped, I've only had 15 of their beers. I think I may have had more, but maybe they didn't, maybe they disappeared as well. But why is Dade, why isn't is a foreign, an Israeli craft brewing company making my favorite ones? Well, it goes out to a time when I was in Israel at a bar, at a brewery in Israel, drinking beers, checking them in on Untapped, and all out of the blue, someone messaged or friends me, and I friend him back on Untapped, and he starts messaging me about, hey, are you going to be there for a while? I said, I want to bring you some beers from my brewery. And I said, well, yeah, I'll be here. Now, of course, I was thinking he was just coming from across town. It turns out that he was coming from north of Tel Aviv. And it took him a while to get there, but it's okay. There was plenty of beer to drink. I was drinking. I met a friend from South Africa. I never met this guy before because, I'm just a friendly guy. We met at the bar drinking beers, and we started chatting, and we had a good time waiting for Ariel Druck to show up, bringing a backpack full of beers from Dade. And my first introduction to this brewery was from him coming to the Dancing Camel, which was a brewery I was at in Tel Aviv, and bringing beers, and we were drinking them at this other brewery and having a good time. And, we were there until 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't even remember how I walked back. Somehow I got back to the hotel, and I have no idea how I got back. That's how much fun we had.
That's how you know you did it right.
Yeah. And just so you know, I wasn't driving. I walked to the brewery from my hotel. So it wasn't like I was driving, but somehow I ended up back at the hotel. No recollection of how I got there. Had a great time. So my introduction to the brewery was special. The beers that he brought were very good. And at the time were some of the best beers I had in Israel, because the craft beer movement wasn't really strong back in the, in the 2014 timeframe. So I really enjoyed those beers, and was like the first taste of real craft beer that I really enjoyed. So that's why this brewery holds a special place. And there's a story that I'm going to tell here that is on their website. First, I'm going to say a little history here. So in 2015, they were contract brewing near Tel Aviv. The brewery went out of business around 2016. So they were brewing, I think, before 2015, but I don't know exactly when they started. Maybe it was 2009, as the story I'm going to tell in a minute is. But I was introduced to them in 2015 for sure. And then a year later, after having, several of their beers and enjoying them, maybe it was 2 years later, they stopped brewing. They went out of business. But they restarted back in 2018 and began brewing again. And their beer is contract brewed at the Beer Bazaar Brewery in Kiryat Gat in Israel, which is in the northern portion of, no, wait, not northern, the eastern portion of Israel. So I was able to get some history and some information off a website. They didn't have a website before. Now they have a website, but it's in Hebrew. And the translate is, when translating from English to Hebrew or Hebrew to English is not the best. I tried to translate what I thought were the right words. The ones I couldn't figure out, I just left. So if it doesn't make sense, it's not me. It's not the beers I've been drinking. It's the fact that Google Translate doesn't work as well as it could, right? So the brewery was born in the courtyard of a house in Ra'anana in 2009. After years in Brazil and the United States, Dagan Ziana returned after being exposed to the international craft industry and the possibility of producing beer at home. He recruited Rodham, improvised a small home cooking system, and it all started from there. Almost every week, new beers came out of the tiny brewery. Knowledge and experience were accumulated, and with them, new friends, brewers and beer lovers in general. When the walls of the house of Ra'anana, I'm not very good at this.
Keep drinking, you'll be fine.
Yeah, were built on fermentation tanks and the creative and boiling mind of the brewmaster, we decided to take the next step and try to turn the out-of-control hobby into a real thing. This is how the People's Brewery began to unfold in Evan Yahada, which was the home brewery of the Bears, Hadabim. Beers began to come out of the brewery door that the Israeli palate hardly knew. The smoky first hit, the strong honeycomb sting in the classic English bitter, and the dark Hatzat. But the Endura shined above them all, the first IPA in Zion, and the capital that marked the continuation of our journey. Little by little, more and more people fell in love with Endura and the hoppy beers that followed. Oh, we got this far and forgot to mention, we love hops, lots of hops. In general, we are bitter people and we like bitter things. Coffee, whiskey, I say rocket, but I'm not sure that's the right translation. I don't know what that word's supposed to be. The place of hops in our lives and in our beers grew as we grew up. Back in Evan Yehuda, almost every month we put a new bear beer on the market. Most of them were hoppy, but there were also some experiments. Beers in wooden barrels, beers with non-standard additions. Did anyone ask for chili? Yeah, they had a pepper beer that was good, but I'm not a big pepper beer fan. Special projects with special people and more. The Bears have gathered a small and loyal core of fans around them. At the pioneering beer festivals of those years, our booths were a central focus, where diehard beer geeks knew how to come to taste the most interesting and talked about beers. But that's only one side of the story. The Israeli market was not ready for our crazy beers and the beers of the other craft breweries that arose in those years. The difficulty of owning a small brewery eventually led to the closing of the People's Brewery. We took our porridge bowls and went into hibernation, but not for too long. The Protree company, which markets food products and beers from around the world, offered to take the Bears under its protection. In a short time, we came back with new beers and old ones and distributed them from shops and pubs from Kiryat Shmona to the north, in the north, to Eilat in the south. The variety has also expanded, and today, alongside the regular beers, we are back to producing more and more new and exciting beers in limited editions. So they are an active brewery. I have had their new stuff in the recent years, and it's good. And here's some of the beers that I've really enjoyed. My favorite beer of theirs was one that was called the Barriehaus American Pale Ale. I gave that a 5 cap rating. A pale ale that just really knocked my socks off. I really enjoyed that beer. Another beer I really enjoyed was the Brew American Brown Ale, a 4.5 cap rating for that. The Oket's Ordinary Bitter, like an English bitter, 4.5 cap for that. Who makes bitter beers, right? And like an ordinary bitter, that's a really good beer. Another beer I really enjoyed, the Paradox Black IPA, a 4 cap rating. And the Blackout Irish Stout, I really enjoyed it as well as a 4 cap rating. And I've had a total of, like I said, 15 beers. So I look forward to every time my buddy Alex comes back. He knows that I'm a fan of Hadabim, and he brings back a Hadabim beer almost every time he comes back, which I really appreciate as well. So those are my 2 favorite H breweries, one in the States and one in Israel. Okay, Kris, we're done with our brew buzz. let's go ahead and talk about our new and noteworthy beer. So what was new and noteworthy you want to talk about this week?
So it's been I guess a heavy couple of weeks with Corporate Ladder. Because we went down there to go visit a food truck. A good friend of mine opened up down here. So we're getting some great beer, but we're also helping support the food truck a little bit too. So the first beer I want to talk about is the Corporate Ladder's Gin Barrel Aged Singapore Sling. Now, the hell's a Singapore Sling?
Yeah. Must
be
a gin drink.
It is a drink. And I've never had it before in my life. And it was just one of those beers. I was like, oh, well, if Blake and his team made it, then it's going to be delicious. So let's just order it. But this was a gin barrel aged imperial sour conditioned on cherries, pineapple, lime, orange, and bitters. And just like everything else that they've put out, these fruited sours, they're tiki themed fruited sours, man. It's just, damn it, they're good. Damn, they're good. And it was I gave it a 5 cap rating, and it was one of those beers where you take a sip of it and you go, holy crap. Like this, every time there's one of these, tiki themed kind of drinks, every time we drink it, we're blown away. And the drink, if you actually order the drink, it looks like it has gin. I'm not sure what Benedictine is.
It sounds dangerous.
Grand Marnier, cherry liqueur, pineapple juice, lime juice, Angostura bitters, and then club soda and garnished with orange and cherry. So it was just an all-around great beer. And I love the fact that they're putting these kind of beers out because, well, it introduces you to different beers and drinks that you never even really knew existed. But 5 cap rating for that one. From Rhinegeist Brewery, their rye barrel aged ink. Now, ink or their barrel aged ink series. This is I've checked into a couple of their beers. They put a couple of the same beer, aged it in different barrels. I think we've done a whiskey. I've had the whiskey barrel, the bourbon barrel, now the rye barrel. 4.25 caps for this beer. It was great. It was a nice and chocolatey, but you also got some of the spiciness from the rye. And it was one of those beers where I poured it in a glass. It got better as it warmed up. I'm just sitting, we're watching a movie or TV or whatever, and just enjoying it as the show or the movie's going on. And just every sip, it's better and better and better. So from Rhinegeist out of Cincinnati, Ohio, their rye barrel aged ink. 4.25 caps. I think I have one more of those in my beer cooler. My Oktoberfest Denny from Barriehaus Beer Company right here in Tampa, Florida. Simple Oktoberfest. And it is that time because, like, well, it's still hot as all get out here. So not really like not really like, oh, the leaves are cooling down. Changing. Yeah,
the leaves aren't changing. It's not cooling down.
93 today. Nothing crazy. Just another day in Florida for us. But I love when we start getting into this season. I love the Oktoberfest beers. When you get some Martins, and like you said earlier in the show, we're leaning more on these malt forward beers and not relying so much on the hops. And I love getting into the Oktoberfest kind of season, because I was at Corporate Ladder the other day, and I think I had a Helles Lager, I had a Dunkel, I had their Oktoberfest. Like, I was going for all the German stuff. It was kind of nice. So 4 cap rating for that Oktoberfest from Barriehaus Beer Company. And the last one, which I'm very excited to read just because I talk about these guys a lot, not Dade City Brewing.
But Gasparilla?
But Gasparilla Pizzeria and Growlers. Now, Dade City Brewing, about an hour north of us here in Tampa. They collaborated with the folks over at Gasparilla Pizzeria and Growlers and put out a beer called Ideal Ratios. Now, Ideal Ratios, guys, if you're hearing this and I screw it up, I'm sorry. Hazy IPA.
I think it is supposed to be a hazy. Isn't that what Connor said? It was supposed to be a hazy IPA.
I'm hoping that I still remembered and I didn't screw anything up because I'll get shit for it later. Yes, New England Hazy IPA. And I love it because the information, if you look it up on Untapped, all it says in the description, hazy.
It's hazy.
Cool. Nice job, guys, on the description. Now, as a person who sucks at doing descriptions because I hate the detail work of everything, I'll give you a little bit of leeway on this one. I actually made notes on this check-in of 4-cap rating for this beer. There were a lot of great West Coast IPA characteristics in this beer.
Okay.
It's a great all-around IPA, right? And it was one of those beers where you drink it, you get some citrus notes to it, and then the citrus turns into the almost like the rind of the orange that you might be tasting, and then it goes piney and resinous, at least from my perspective anyway. And it really just turned into an all-around fantastic beer. And I'm really excited to see other beers that they put out. And I was also talking to Chance over at Gasparilla the other day. He said, yeah, we got a couple of kegs and we went through 2 or 3 kegs just in the weekend.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I mean, they kicked keg after keg after keg of it. And I was really excited because I went over there and I was like, I just want to get a can of it because, well, you know, I want to add to the can, the label wall. And I said, do you have any cans I can buy? And he goes, no, sadly. He goes, if you go up to the brewery, you can get some. And I went, I want the label off of it. That's all I want. I was drinking the beer, but all I want is the label off of it to throw it on my wall. And he goes, hang on a second. And he comes back and he brings me an empty can. And I was like, that's why I go there. They take great care of me over there. So Ideal Ratios from Dade City Brewing and the collaboration with Gasparilla Pizzeria and Growlers gave that a 4-cap rating, Denny. And those are my new and noteworthy beers. Let's hear about your new and noteworthy beers.
Okay. Only a couple, or I have 3.
Listen,
First,
it's weird. I had more than you did this.
I know. I drank lots of beer. I just didn't drink new beers. That's the problem. Or ones that I did drink new that were worthy of discussing. But I will talk about this worthy beer from Jim Dandy Brewing, the Dandy Fuzz Imperial New England IPA. And what I said about this, wow, this beer smells delicious and could even tempt a teetotaler to partake.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it was that good. Even someone that doesn't want to drink will drink this beer. It doesn't disappoint either once you take that first sip. Candy citrus with lime finish, soft and creamy mouthfeel that hides the over 8% ABV so well. So good, I drank 2 pints back to back.
Oh, Megan said greetings from Vegas. Hi.
Oh, hi. Hi, Megan. I gave this a 5-cap rating. This beer was so good. And if they would have had this in cans or even a crowler, I would have got it for you, Kris, but it was not being canned. I think that's okay. The problem is this beer was released right after my last visit over a month ago with Haley. And I think they probably had cans when they first did it, but once they run out, then everything's on draft. So you would have loved this beer. Sorry, I couldn't give it to you.
Listen, I'm excited. I'm excited. I was trying to figure out how I'm going to get beer back from Vegas because I know I'm supposed to land at like 5 something on Friday. And funny enough, yesterday or the day before, Corey's Wine and Beer, the place I always visit when I go into Vegas, they took a picture on their social media and posted all their Fremont stuff.
Oh.
All their bee bombs and all their rusty nails and all. And I went, oh my God, I all I have is a 6-bottle shipper here.
Yeah, you better bring 2. Oh, you only have 1 left? You have 1 6?
I have a 6-bottle shipper. And I don't know, last week or the week before, I'm going, you should really buy a 12-bottle shipper, get it dropped off at the house, and then you can take that one. Unless I can get it here super fast, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to. Yeah.
So I'll take my 6-bottle one.
Okay.
And then
you have to you got to be choosy. You got to pick the right one.
I don't. No. Here's the thing. Not only am I going to be there, Megan will be there, Tina will be there, Manny will be there, and our trainer Amanda will be there. Oh yeah, and one of our quasi employees, Drew, which is Amanda's boyfriend. I got 6 people who I can shove stuff in their suitcase.
Okay.
If I buy too much.
Okay. That's good.
We'll figure it out.
I can't wait to see your stash when you get back home. That'd be.
Listen, I told Megan, I said, I'm probably just going to Uber from the airport to Corey's, pick up what I want, and then I'll come back.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. and hi, Amanda. She said hi too.
Okay. Hi, Amanda. All right. My second beer is one of the beers that I mentioned in the last episode that our buddy Kirk Tabor provided to me. This was, it's from Destruce Brewers. It's a Belgian brewery. It's called Cuvée Delphine. And the age of this one is 2018. And I drank this beer and I really enjoyed it. What I said is big thanks to Kirk for the Belgian beauty. This time drinking a beer from the brewery first time drinking a beer from this brewery and a nicely aged 2018 vintage. This has so many rich and complex flavors. The barrel spirits add a great aroma as well. Super smooth, very enjoyable treat. 4.5 cap rating for that. And my last beer is another. I mentioned I really enjoyed the Sockeye Brewing single hop Sabro. I totally drew a blank. The single hop Sabro Pale Ale. I must have drank at least 3 or 4 6-packs of that beer when it was available. Well, that was no longer available. They released their next version, which is again Sockeye Brewing here locally in Boise, Idaho. Their single hop hazy pale ale, which is the Simcoe variety, and I forgot to put that in here when I pale ale Simcoe. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget to add that to the name.
Yeah, don't forget it.
Simcoe. And what I said about this beer, nice citrus aroma, citrus and piney flavors, dry with only a mild bitterness. This beer is easy drinking and one that I'm going to enjoy many 6-packs until the next version comes out. 4.5 cap rating. So, this beer, fantastic. Another one that I'm going to be partaking in a lot of 6-packs because it's just so damn good. And those are my new and noteworthy.
Well, it's like you said the other day when we were texting, you're just happy to get repeat offenders on the beers that you're getting locally.
So since you mentioned that, Kris, this year, last couple of years, I've been focusing more on enjoying the good beers that I have available to me than trying to search out and find every new beer, because those new beers, you may find a great beer, and that great beer may only be available that one time. You may not brew it again, but you end up missing out on enjoying the really good beers that you have available to you all the time locally. So this year, especially, man, I have been drinking so many local beers or even beers in the regional area that I get in town, showing support for those breweries, showing that, hey, keep producing this beer that is really good and I really enjoy it. If I don't buy the beer, it's not going to get recognized and they're going to stop sending it here, right? So I've been buying, the local ones are not going to stop sending, but I still want to support local and I want to support the other breweries that Georgetown and Rubens and Boneyard, which is Deschutes as well, and Deschutes. I just been drinking a lot of the beers I really enjoy And just like today, right? I'm drinking this summer honey from Big Sky Brewing. And why am I drinking it? Because I love when this beer comes out during summertime and gives you that nice blonde, blonde ale with a little bit of honey, character to it. I love it. And why not show support for these breweries that are producing great beers and bring it to my area? If I don't support them, they won't keep bringing them. And so, yeah, I drink a lot of beer that I just enjoy. And as I mentioned in the last episode as well, beer prices are going up. You go to the breweries now, and you're in our area, which used to be $5 pints. Yeah. Now it's $7 pints, and that's a lot of money for one beer. When I can go to the store and buy a 6-pack for $8.99 to $10. I love to support the brewery but I can't drink. I need to be, I need to take care of my wallet too. So I'll support them through the grocery stores. They don't make as much, but I'm drinking their beer, enjoying it, and still supporting them a little bit.
Listen, you brought up Big Sky. I've been waiting to go and get some Moose Drool.
Yeah, I have some Moose Drool in my fridge too. I'll talk about that in a minute when we get to our toast. But before I get to my toast, Kris, hey, it's time to close this show out. We are going on close to 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes already. It's gonna be a long show, but hey, before we close this thing out, go ahead and raise a glass to someone I can raise a glass to tonight.
So I would love to raise a glass to Miss Kristen Ream over at Trek Brewing. Happy birthday, Kristen. I hope you guys Kristen. Are having an awesome day today.
And drinking lots of Trek beer.
Well, that would be expected. So happy birthday to you. Again, I hope you guys are having an awesome day. And Denny, who would you like to raise a glass to?
First off, I raised my glass to our Patreon toast of the night to Kevin and Amanda Argauer. Thank you for your patronage. Secondly, I'm raising my glass to Dave Zalatoris from Beer in Front podcast. He is going to hold the first inaugural Beer in Front Beer Awards for 2022.
Nice.
And it's going to be 2 awards, one for macro beers and one for craft beers. Macro beers will be like there's a list of 20 beers or so. And, he's going out to the community. He's promoting independent podcasters and people who love craft beer to join in and judge beers, give their ratings. It'll be tallied up at the end, and we will announce the best macro beer, which I'm not going to participate in the macro. I might drink a couple of the macros, but I just don't like the macro beers. But I will participate in the craft beer selections, which are over 21 years old. So the beers have to be like classic older craft beers that are at least 21 years or older. And there's a number of there's probably half of the one, well, I'm at half, maybe a third of the beers on the list that I can actually get in my area. And I'm going to participate in that, promoting Tap to Craft podcast. And hopefully, we can have Dave on our show, and maybe I can join him in his show and talk about Boise craft beer as well. But cheers to you, Dave, for going out there and starting this beer awards. The beer awards will be, we have to have our stuff in by December 1st, all of our voting for these beers. And then he will announce the winners in December 16th. So we've got a few months away, but just a cheers to Dave for thinking about such a great idea that I didn't think of. And even if I would have thought of it, I probably couldn't get anyone to join us anyway. That's the problem. No one wants to join in. And I'm glad to see there's a lot of people that are joining in to help him with his beer awards. And of course, being a former serviceman, I always want to raise my glass and thank all those who have served and who are currently serving in the U.S. military services, protecting our freedoms on this Labor Day, especially. Thank you for your service. And please, I hope you're able to return home safely to your families very soon. And Kris, why don't you give a toast out to our sponsor?
All right. Well, I would love it to raise a glass to our sponsor, FrostBuddy. They're specializing in cooling containers for your beverage of choice. FrostBuddy has the Universal Buddy 2.0, which Denny talked about. Hey, leave us a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Yeah. Take a screenshot of it and send it to us. You can win yourself one of these. Okay.
You can win one. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a green one, and I've got a blue one, and this one, the American flag. We're gonna have all kinds of fun styles on it. So the Universal Buddy 2.0, which is the world's first universal can cooler for 12-ounce cans, slim cans, bottles, and even 16-ounce cans. FrostBuddy also has the world's first universal wine cooler, 24-ounce stainless steel mugs, and even stainless steel dog bowls. Go visit their website at frostbuddy.com.
And you can find the beers and links to the articles mentioned in the show in the show notes located on the show post at taptocraft.com. If you'd like to follow us on social media, I can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and Untappd at Luce Screw. And Kris, how can our listeners follow you?
So you can never find me on Twitter. Never gets old, Denny. Never find me on Twitter at Kris_McKenzie82. Or you can find me on Untappd and Instagram at MCK1345. But you can definitely always find us on everything social at Tap the Craft.
All right. It is last call. It's time to bring the show to a close. We want to thank you for downloading and listening. We ask you to please tell a friend and, of course, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And as a reminder, we release a new show every 2 weeks. Now go out there and spread the good word of craft beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.